Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond.
Hi everyone, my name is Christine and welcome to my channel. I am so excited to be here on YouTube finally. Oh my gosh, you guys, it really has been the longest road for me. I've been wanting to do YouTube for maybe like 2 years now, and I've had just things that have been, popping up in the way. I finished school. I had a couple other things that I'm going to get into in a minute, and I'm just really so blessed and so excited to finally be here and being able to do something that I love and something that I am passionate about. This is my first video, of course, and I had it all planned out. I had like this whole list, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a get to know me video first, then I'm gonna do, a story time second, I'm gonna do this, that, and that, and then I figure, I'm like, okay, who wants to hear a get to know me video? Like, no one knows me, no one's gonna look that up, no one's gonna be interested in that. So I had to kind of move some videos around on my little list, and I decided that my first video was going to be a story time. And I figured, that'll be a way for you guys to kind of get to know me a little bit, get to know the journey I had to get here, and hopefully it could be a story of encouragement, a story of inspiration, and yeah, so we'll get right into it. So, today is September 14th, 2018, and this is a pretty significant day in my life because 2 years ago I was involved in a very, very, very bad car accident. So it was September 14th, 2016. That was the day that pretty much changed my life forever in a matter of about 30 seconds. And it kind of started off, just a regular day. I went to California State University, Northridge, so shout out to all my matadors that are watching. And I believe it was a Wednesday morning. I got up like every regular day, got dressed to go to school. My mom was home at the time, so I said bye to my mom. I believe my dad was at work, and I headed out. At the time, I had this cute little Honda Accord, and it was like my favorite car. I hadn't even had it for a year yet, and all this happened. So I'm driving, and for those of you who live in LA and maybe are familiar with the route it takes to get to Northridge, you get on the 405, I believe it is north, and it's just a straight shot. So that drive, I was used to taking that drive. Like, I've taken that drive, I don't even know, I was entering into my 4th year, so I probably taken that drive like 100 times, literally. And so I know it like the back of my hand. So maybe about 20 minutes into my drive, I was probably like 10 minutes away from my exit, I encountered this car. And I remember it. It was a silver Toyota Prius, and it was an Uber. And okay, so if you live in LA, Ubers are... y'all need to drive safer. Like, y'all drive crazy. So I don't remember everything exactly, but we were like this, and he needed to exit, I guess. And I think before we had kind of had, the little whatever, but I remember seeing him get off on his exit. So I'm assuming that he was about to miss it. So I'm in this lane, he's on the left of me, and he just starts to get over, right? And so my first, reaction is just, okay, just try to get out the way, try to just move over. So when I did that, my car crashed into the wall on the right of the freeway. When it crashed to the wall on the right of the freeway, I tried to gain control back, and I ended up losing control of the car, and it crossed all the lanes of the 405 and slammed right into the center divider. And I probably was going like 70 to 75 miles an hour. And anything after realizing that my car was going out of control, I really don't remember. The next thing I remember is being waken up by paramedics, and I was just frantic. I was like, oh my God, what is going on? What happened? They were like, you're involved in a car accident, you need to stay still. And it happened that when I slammed into that wall, I somehow flipped over onto the passenger side, and one leg was in like the windshield, the other leg was in the back seat, and it was crazy. And so they were like, I could hear one say like, oh, I think her leg is broken. And I'm just like, okay, Christine, like, just try to calm down, just, let them do their job, whatever. And so they got me into the paramedics, and I'm just like freaking out. And it was like two guys. All I remember them doing was like cutting all my clothes off, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm like, wait, I need to call my dad, because he was always like, if you guys get in a car accident, you guys need to call me as soon as it happens so I can help you deal with everything and make sure everything is okay. But of course I wasn't able to do that. They actually left my phone in the car because it was in like the center console on the aux cord. And so from there I was taken to UCLA Medical Center. And the reason that I even bring up the fact that my car like crossed so many lanes is because it was on the 405 at 11 o'clock in the afternoon. Anyone that's familiar with the 405, that freeway is always busy, but my car did not hit anyone. No one hit me. It was just like a blessing. God really was watching over me, because I could have been dead easily. And so after they pulled me out of the car, they took me to UCLA Medical Center, because that was the hospital that was closest to where the accident happened. I don't even remember getting to UCLA. They must have sedated me, or I passed out. The next thing I remember is waking up in a CT scan. And I was so freaked out. I was just asking, like, what happened? They're just like, you're involved in a really bad car accident. And I could hear the nurse say, like, oh, your leg is broken. You'll probably be fine in a couple of weeks. So I'm thinking, okay, it's fine. So during that time, I wasn't able to call anyone from my family because my phone was in the car. And when I kind of woke back up, I was able to give the nurse some numbers to call. And it just so happened that one day, like, no one was able to pick up the phone. Like, my sister is a teacher, so she couldn't pick up the phone. At the time, my brother was like a TA, so he was in class, he couldn't pick up the phone. My other sister was at work. My mom, I believe she was in traffic, like, going to get my brother. And my dad, it just so happens, he was in a meeting downtown, like underground, and the call didn't even come to his phone, because my dad picks up the phone all the time. Like, as soon as you call him, like, he's there. Like, he picks up the phone all the time. And that was just the one day that we could get anyone on the phone. So, like, hours went by, and I just kept asking her, like, have you gotten anyone yet? Have you gotten any of my family? And she hadn't gotten anyone. So I kept kind of drifting back and forth into, like, I would say, I guess it was sleep, but I think I was sedated because they had to kind of keep me calm. So then when I woke up, she was like, we're going to have to take you into surgery. I still haven't got anyone, but, I'll try one more time. So then the last time she tried, she finally got my dad, and I was able to speak to him before I went to surgery, and I was freaking out. I didn't even know at that time what my injuries were, and the hospital cannot tell a family member they call what is happening when they call in an emergency, just because they have to drive there and they need to try to keep them calm, even though that doesn't keep whatever. But so when I came out of surgery, everyone was there. My parents were there, my siblings were there, my uncles, my aunts, cousins, my pastor and his wife. And I remember I had a neck brace on. I remember my face was huge, my lip was busted, and I just remember them saying that they had to do surgery on my foot because my foot was broken. So the following day, they had to transfer me to Kaiser because that's my home hospital. And Kaiser really took the best care of me. Like, that is the best hospital ever. But it wasn't until we got to Kaiser that we realized how bad my injuries really were. I was just thinking, like, okay, my foot is broken or my leg is broken. I'll be fine. I'll be up. I'll be on crutches. In a couple of weeks, I can go back to work. So when we got to Kaiser, that's when I guess they told me that I had broken my foot. I broke my ankle. I actually had an open compound fracture in my ankle. I don't know if that's the right medical term to use. I'm not really good at that. But basically what an open compound fracture is when a bone, I guess it breaks and it rips through the skin. So one of the bones in my ankle ripped straight through the skin and the bone was sticking right out. I also dislocated my knee. I tore several ligaments within my knee. I had several broken ribs. I had a C2 spine fracture, and I don't know exactly what bone that is, but I know it's a pretty important bone in your neck. And several of my teeth came out. These two front teeth were knocked all the way out, and then this one, half of it was knocked out. And then, I had scratched my face. So if you see a scar right here, that's what that is. And I'm really telling this story to kind of get some of the things out the way, because I'll explain a little later. There are cosmetic, scars and things that are still present after the accident, and things that I have to deal with for the rest of my life. And instead of, being questioned about it, I'd rather just make a video on it, but it'd be my first video, and get that out the way. So it was really bad. And at this time, I was 20 years old. I was living my best life. I was cute. I was popping. I had just got like a really good job at Saks, because I want to be in the fashion industry. So I'm like, yes, this is my first job in fashion, and I'm only going to go up from here. And I was hanging out with my friends. I was cute in my little Honda. It was just, life was good. I was going into my 4th year at CSUN, and I was preparing to graduate. So when we found out I had all those injuries, it was really hard. The doctors weren't able to just put my knee back into place, so I ended up having to have an external fixture in my leg for I had that in my leg from September to I think the first week in November. So my leg was stuck like this for 2 months. And I wasn't able to move. I wasn't able to move at all. I had about 7 different procedures, because when you have a C2 spine fracture, the doctor had to do skin grafts. So what he had to do was take skin from my upper thigh and place that down on my ankle to cover up the bone, because you can't push the bone back in. So if you guys could imagine, that's what's going on with my leg. And he had to take muscle from my calf and place it. I don't even know where he placed it. Somewhere in my ankle, okay? And so all that was going on. It was a horrible. I was in so much pain, and I was battled so much anxiety and so much depression. And it's something that I still deal with today, because it's really hard to cope with the fact that, you know, if God didn't spare my life, I could have easily been dead, because I didn't have on a seatbelt, which is the biggest lesson out of this whole experience. And I could have flown right out the window, or a car could have hit me. You know, all of that could have happened, and it didn't, because God spared my life. And I believe that there's a reason he did it. I believe that I have a purpose in life, and at this point I'm just trying to figure out what it is. Maybe that purpose is to share my story, because the story has a lot of, you know, ups and downs, but it shows kind of a lot of determination and kind of hard work that I had to learn, you know, because before that my life was pretty easy. Like, I didn't, you know, I got up, I went to work, I went to school. And I'm sorry, someone is getting their lawn garden outside, so if you hear that, I'm so sorry. My mic is picking up all of that. So I spent about 6 to 8 weeks in the hospital, and when I came home, I was still in bed rest. I was on bed rest until about late November. I could not walk. After that, I had to go through extensive physical therapy. At first, I had physical therapy coming to my house a couple of times a week, because I couldn't go outside. I couldn't get in the car. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't get myself up to use the bathroom. I couldn't wash myself up. For a minute, I couldn't feed myself. And that, you know, I'm so thankful for the parents I have, the family I have, because my mom did not leave my side from the day it happened. She stayed there overnight every single day. And you can imagine just how hard that is. You know, they only have like a little cot for a family to sleep on. And my dad, he came every single day after work, between meetings. He relieved my mom on the weekends, you know, so she could go get her nails done or her hair done. My siblings came. My sister Ashley, she would stay on the weekends sometimes too. My sister Tam and my niece London and my brother Brandon, they came every day to check on me and to just lift my spirits. And my family, my aunts and my uncles and my church family, it was just amazing, you know, to see the outpouring of love during that time. And it was really hard. There were days I didn't want to get up, and I didn't want to do my physical therapy. I did not want to deal with the fact that I had to basically relearn everything. I had to relearn how to walk. I had to learn how to put my socks on. I had to learn how to put my shoes on. I had to pretty much learn how to bend my knee again, because when they took the external fixtures out, my knee was stuck like that. So basically they had to like break my knee, and it's like the worst pain of my life, and I did not want to do it. But I had to remind myself that, okay, Christine, your ultimate goal is you want to graduate. I wanted to go back to school. I wanted to do that so bad, because I know that in order to do what I want to do later on in life, I needed to finish school and I needed to get my degree. So I had to medical withdraw that fall semester of 2016, but spring semester of 2016, I was back. I was on bed rest, but I did anything that I could do online. I even, you know, worked itself out that a teacher allowed me to FaceTime into a class and do all of my work that way. And you know, whenever I have to take exams, my dad would just wheel me up to the school in my wheelchair, and I would take exams in the disabilities office. And that's what I had to do for a while until I was able to walk on my own. So I got on out of my wheelchair and I got to my walker, then I was able to, you know, go outdoors a little bit. And that was really hard for me. I had a lot of anxiety. I was really scared to get in the car. I was afraid to step over like a step or just to do anything really. And, you know, it's really difficult to start living everyday life after you have gone through trauma, after you have broken bones and, you know, have gone through things like that, because you fear falling or you fear getting into another accident, or you just fear life in general. It was scary, and it was something that I had to get used to doing again. So the second I was able to get off my walker, I went back on campus. I went back to school fall semester of 2017. Yeah, fall semester 2017. I went back to on campus. And I remember my mom saying, she was like, when I dropped you off, she was like, I stayed for a minute because it took you forever to just get in campus. Like, I couldn't, I would walk a couple steps and I'd have to stop, and I would walk a couple steps, I had to stop, I had to sit down, because I wasn't used to walking that much and it was hard. So every day I went on campus, I would do that. If it took me 2 steps, I would have to sit down, 2 steps and sit down. You know, I had to schedule classes very, you know, strategically, because I knew I needed an hour or 30 minutes, you know, to get to my next destination. And that pattern continued until I was able to come off of my cane and walk on my own. And eventually I started driving again. You know, it took my parents a minute to be like, okay, she can drive again. And it took about a year and some change to even recover from the accident, you know. It's so funny. I was looking at my like Kaiser account the other day and just counting how many times I had been to the hospital, and I had 45 hospital visits, because I had to go see my plastic surgeon. I had to go see my what is it called, like your orthopedic surgeon, and my neurosurgeon. I had to go see them almost every week. I had to go back and forth to the doctor, and I couldn't even go by car. I had to be transported by like a kind of like a ambulance type truck. And so it took a lot, and it took a lot of confidence to even live life. Like I said earlier, I'm left with the scars from my accident. I'm left with this scar, and I'm also left with scars on my left leg. You know, it's kind of, I don't want to call it distorted, but it's not normal. And it's something that I'm learning to deal with even today, 2 years after. You know, there are times where I'm like, you know, I'm going to wear my leg out. Why should I make other people comfortable and I'm uncomfortable? You know, I want to be confident enough to wear my dresses and wear my shorts or whatever and have my leg out. But then there are other days where I'm like, I can't do this. I don't want people staring at my leg. It's not cute. It doesn't look good. But, you know, my parents always just remind me that, you know, they're your battle wounds, pretty much. They're my battle wounds. And it's just a constant reminder of how God saved my life. Literally saved my life, because I didn't have to make it through that. And, you know, it's a everyday process. It really is. I'm still trying to become comfortable with who I am today post accident, because I'm not the same person. I'm still trying to overcome a lot of anxiety, you know, and depression. You know, sometimes things spark up, and sometimes unfortunately I take it out on people that are closest to me. And not everyone can understand trauma. but those who do, in my life, I really do appreciate them all. I appreciate my mom, my dad, my siblings, my uncles, my aunts, my church family, my friends who have been extremely patient with me. I have to give them a shout out to Destiny. I love you, sis. To Netta, to Rayshawn. I love you guys so much, and thank you for being so patient with me. I was finally, I guess, the big finale to the story. I was finally able to graduate and walk the stage on my own May 2018 with my friends and my classmates, and that was one of the biggest accomplishments of my life because I had to work for it. I had to work really hard for it, not just studying, having my head in the books, but I had to work hard to be on campus, to walk to campus. I remember times it literally would take me like 30 minutes just to get to class, but I was determined. And that really is the moral of the story, is just determination and hard work through, the many, crises and just, big mountains and boulders that life can throw at us. I don't know if that's a good, kind of saying, but it really takes determination to do anything that you want to do. And even just confidence and your self-esteem through things that sometimes you can't control. It takes a lot of self-esteem. Just a lot of self-esteem, a lot of confidence to be who you are and unapologetically be yourself when you have things that are not appealing to the human eye, but you still view yourself as beautiful, and you have to live life for yourself. If it makes you feel beautiful, do it. If you feel beautiful in what you have on, wear it. If you feel beautiful showing all your scars, do it. No one else can tell you what you should wear, what you should do, what is beautiful and what is not beautiful. And that kind of is what I want my channel to be about. I'm all about beauty and fashion and plus size fashion for my curvy girls, for my big girls, and lifestyle with my friends, my family. And that's really what you're going to see on my channel. It's just talks about confidence and self-esteem, and you'll see try-on hauls, you'll see some makeup videos, you'll see vlogs and different segments. I can't tell you everything because I want you guys to subscribe and come back and watch and see what I have for you. But it's going to be a journey. It's going to be a good journey. It's going to be a fun journey. I want you guys to let me know what you want to see. I want you guys to comment down below. Tell me what you thought of this video. If you'd like to see more story times, tell me what you're battling. Are you battling self-esteem issues, confidence issues, working through disabilities? Let me know, and let me know how I can be encouragement to you, whether that's through prayer or just sharing my story with someone that you know is going through the same thing, whether it's your family or your friends. Feel free to share my story. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Go on over, follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is Chrissy B Styles, and I will link that down below. Thank you for watching my first video. If you got to the end of it, I know that I talk a lot, and I'm sorry for any background noise. I'm so excited to be doing this. I will be uploading every week, hopefully twice a week. No, I'm gonna say twice a week because I'm gonna do it. I promise I will. Twice a week. And I hope you guys come along on this ride with me. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and peace and love.